everybody. It's Ann Kaplan from Mom Me, your mama resource from conception to college. Wherever you are on your momming journey, we are here for you. And this week we're talking about change and transition. It's a concept that's kind of vague and weird and nebulous, but when we actually start digging into it, I bet you can see concrete examples of yourself going through change and transition and your kids going through change and transition all around you. Because hello, we're not stagnant people, right? We're not stagnant anything. Nothing that's living is stagnant. We're constantly growing and changing. And what I want to talk about today is how we can support our kids when they're going through change. And what I put in the little description there is, what if your kids' tantrums were a sign that you're actually doing everything right as a parent? So I want to frame this for you in terms of discipline, because that's what I'm going to be talking about on Saturday with the upcoming webinar, discipline. So when we discipline our kids, when we start, especially if we're starting a new discipline strategy that's out of nowhere, but even if we're disciplining our kids and we're being really consistent with our strategy, our kids test us and they do something that's a little bit misbehaved, and we need to react with whatever strategy we're using. And guess what happens when you do that? Your kid pushes back against you, don't they? Whether it's a tantrum, whether it's trying to argue with you, whether it's trying to defy you, whatever, throwing something at you, kicking, screaming, biting, all of those things, those are ways that your kid's resisting the consequence that you're giving them or the discipline that you're giving them. But also what we're really saying is they're resisting change. Our job as parents in general is to raise responsible, introspective, contributing members of society and adults, right? And how do we do that? We, as parents, simply put, are change facilitators. We are helping our kids change and transition and transform throughout every stage of their childhood until they become those adults that we're trying to raise. And what does that mean? It means we, lucky us, we get to experience all of our kids' resistance to change. It's human nature to resist change. Kids are no different. So when your kid is sad or bummed out or fighting against you or crying or screaming or whatever because you've implemented some sort of consequence or discipline strategy or a lesson or whatever, instead of looking at it as like, oh my gosh, this is a sign that my kid is so poorly behaved, which, takes one to know one. I feel that way sometimes too. Totally even embarrassed of my kids, which I'm kind of embarrassed to admit, because of their behavior. But you guys, I want you to flip it, because your kid's tantrum, your kid's resistance to the discipline that you're giving them is a sign that it's working. It's a sign that you're nailing it. When you implement a consequence to your kids and it makes them feel bummed out, yes, that is a feather in your cap. That is an awesome mommy moment. That is a win. Because change doesn't come easy. So if you are trying to help your kids grow and change and transition, you want to see that sign of struggle, because it's a sign that they are changing and transitioning. So the next time that you get to be mean mommy and implement a consequence or a discipline strategy with your kids and they push back against you, instead of being eye rolling or like, oh my God, I can't take this, forget it, I'm just going to give in, blah, blah, blah. Instead, think like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted the resistance because that means change is happening. Go me, awesome mom. I get to relax and reward myself with a margarita. If you want to. Now, what I want to talk about is change comes in two ways. Change comes when we're the ones influencing change in our kids, raising them, consequencing them, teaching them, all of those things. But guess what, you guys? Kids go through transitions that are really tough and hard that aren't coming from us, that might be coming from their peers at school, might be coming from siblings, might be coming from a new circumstance, might be coming from their own bodies. Okay? So how can you show up and support? So my tips for you, the two biggest tips I have for you today is, if the change is coming from you, if you're the one facilitating in the change in your kid, my biggest tip for you is don't cave, okay? When you see that resistance, nailed it, okay? But tip 2 is, if that change is coming from something else, don't put on your Mr. Fix-It hat, okay? Your kid doesn't need you to solve their problems. Your kid needs your support while they solve their own problems. That looks like talking to them when they're struggling and saying, hey buddy, how can I help you? Hey buddy, how does it feel whatever's going on? Someone was mean to you at school. You're having trouble with your homework. Your brother's being mean to you, blah, blah, blah. Show up as support, not problem solver, because your job as a parent is to teach your kids how to solve those problems. So when we see the struggle, it is our nature. We're mothers. We love our kids. Our nature is to just be like, buddy, please let me relieve you of this pain. What's worse than watching your kids struggle and be in pain? I really can't think of anything worse. So I totally get it. But when we cave on our discipline strategies because it's causing our kids bummer feelings, when we jump in and be Mr. Fix-It, when their transition and change is causing them bummer feelings and it's not because of us, we are totally robbing them of the opportunity to go through the hard stuff that results in the change that they need to have, that they're ready to have. I hope that's helpful for you guys, and I really hope that you're ready for some more amazing parenting tips, because on Saturday, I'm leading a webinar that is going to blow you guys away. 3 secrets to raising great kids without losing your sanity. I'm pretty sure that pretty much nails it right there. That sums up why every single person is in this group, because we want that. So tune in on Saturday. If you're not registered yet, I'm going to put a link in the comments below. Don't wait, you guys. I'm getting more enrollments every day, and I can only support so many people on my Zoom link. So don't miss your chance. I'm going to be talking about how to get your kids to listen the first time that you ask, how to stop the yelling and angry fighting that goes on in our homes all the time. And don't tell me it doesn't, because I know you. I know there's fighting and yelling in your house because you're a human being. And there's fighting and yelling in my house too. And I'm going to talk about how to parent calm, how to mom calm, so that you're not losing it on your kids, so that they do listen the first time, and so that you can actually have a life while you're raising your kids and loving it the whole time. Register. I'm going to put a link in the comments below. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye.